Referee Greg Garner from England as Spain prepare to get this match underway. Ball booted deep into Kenyan territory. Michael Kombe slapping it into the hands of Joshua Chisanga. Marauding run early on, taking on the Spaniards, signaling his intent. Samuel Lech spotting a gap deep, just looking to relieve the pressure. The question is, what can Spain do from this? They keep the ball alive.
Stand still.
As Linkletter once again fielding it deep. Samuel Lech was back home. Samuel Lech today playing in the changed position of fly half. We used to see Samuel Lech play at fullback. Interesting tactical change by head coach Jerome Parwata as Nava just plays it out wide. Some continuity from the Spaniards. It's been a fluid start to the game early on.
Because there's a lot of stake in this game, especially for the Kenyan team, currently ranked number 29 in the world. I've just read some permutations somewhere, Mike, that should the Kenya team win this game by more than 20 points, they should be able to launch themselves to number 25 ahead of their last test match in this year against Namibia. And what a way to finish the year after that disappointing loss to Zimbabwe last year that just denied the Kenya team a chance to participate in the World Cup, which will be held in England in September and October later on in the year.
True indeed, as the Kenyans concede a penalty off an infringement, opting to go for goal early on other Spaniards, and that is their fly half, Bradley Linkletter. Of course, playing in Nairobi, the Spaniards would be aware of issues such as altitude and would want to go ahead from the earliest opportunity, and Brad Linkletter is going to attempt a kick from midway, and if it goes in, they'll have got points on the board, but key for them will be to lead the match throughout.
Of course, we did actually see this being preferred as an option by Khalifa, the Tunisian fullback, 3 weeks ago. Not too certain whether the Spanish kicker has a boost match, but we did see this in the first half of the game against Tunisia, just the ability of opposing teams managing to just smack in all the points available off the boots. It would appear that the Spanish may have seen that game and they may be picking up off the stream script.
He's all concentration as he looks to break the deadlock. Of course, this would be the easiest way to get onto the scoreboard. Massive boot, and it is successful, bouncing off the post and just over the sticks. Spain 3, Kenya 0. Bradley Linkletter with the penalty kick.
Of course, Mike, right from the get-go, we definitely see the level of potency and the danger that the Spanish Los Leones pose on their kicker. Linkletter just looking like he's been able to practice his kick on this pitch, not literally breaking into any set, and the Kenyan chargers should be very well aware that they'll be playing against him, that will be able to capitalize on any mistake that they make.
Spain again reclaiming the ball from the restart, playing it tight. Linkletter spotted the gap back home. Mose is covering. Vincent Mose elevated to the starting lineup. Showed an injection of pace. He just seemed to lose the ball there, but he had men cleaning up. That's Edwin Achayo, another returnee. To Samuel Lech. Darting run. Samuel Lech spotted the gap. Does he have support? Plays it to Darwin Mukidza. And this has got the crowd here, the RFUEA, up on their feet.
Definitely Samuel Lech, starting off at number 10 in this game, did finish at number 10 in the game against Tunisia, doing very well, missing off the first tackler, linking very well Darwin Mukidza, who looked like he has definitely been read out. The Spaniards look to have done a lot of research on this Kenya team. Bumping tackle coming on Kelvin Omio, the Kenyans currently just trying to do enough to return onto the ball possession, but the Spaniards definitely looking good within the first 5 minutes of this game.
The Kenyans continuing two attacking phases. Edwin Achayo, once again, Samuel Lech, cheeky chip. Jacob Oje just let down by the bounce of the rugby ball.
I mean, there's definitely a curse of being too fast. Jacob Oje got off. The ball just managed to irritatingly bounce behind him. The Kenyans should have looked at getting a try there. Kelvin Omio trying to chase down the Spanish scrum half. And the Spanish look to have a break. Look like it's on. Second tackle missed by Warui. Looking very good for the Los Leons. The Kenyan Simbas struggling currently all over the pitch. Spanish have definitely come to play rugby.
And what a response from the Spaniards. They had been pinned
holding on
in their half,
and 11
but the possession turning Kenya's way.
Holding on. 11.
Penalty awarded to Kenya from a Spanish infringement.
Of course, Mike, you probably have wished that the Kenyan back rows may have been at the back of Samuel H. He does have a very devastating step, always has a way of creating space, and you'd always just wish that some fellows would actually be running off in the left and the right channel. And if at all he gets such players, then Samuel H is the kind of player who can get you a couple of points on the board.
True indeed, as you have correctly mentioned, Hillary. Sami Oliet will need a lot of support play from his teammates.
I'll tell you, how many?
How many? The line out throw 5 is Kenya's Sami Waroi this
10
time.
please.
We have 2 Samis in the team, Samuel Oliet and
so halfback Kenya.
Waroi. This is Waroi preparing for the line out throw. Tapped back by Oliver Mangeni, then booted away by the Spaniards. Vincent Mose is back home, looking to counter-attack. He has men out wide. What will he do? Loses the ball on the tackle. And it's now advantage Spain.
Very, very risky there by Vincent Mose. He's a very experienced player. Should not have let go of that ball, but there will be an advantage. The first scrum of the game off the scrum knock-on by Vincent Mose. One of the more experienced players. Indeed, he was one of the players who was instrumental when Kenya last won its Confederation Rugby 1A competition a couple of years back.
True indeed, and a favorite of head coach Jerome Parwata whenever he is available. So the scrum down there, the Spain put in. We played about 7 minutes of the match. Spain leading by 3 points to 0 from a penalty scored by Bradley Linkletter. Referee Greg Garner, a man of deep experience. He has refereed at the Junior World Championships. He's refereed matches in the European Championships as well. As Spain just dominating this scrum. That was a massive scrum from Spain. The ball is out. And that is the man, Linkletter. Crunching tackle coming in from Jacob Oje. But Spain recycling and keeping it alive. Going into a second phase of play. That is Jaime Nava. They seem to have lost the ball on the tackle. It is advantage Kenya at the moment. Ball cleaned up. This is the hard running Ronnie Monesi. Kelvin Omio seemed to be obstructed, but the advantage still swings back to Kenya's way.
The partisan crowd at the RFUEA grounds in Nairobi got into a bit of a banter there when the referee did not call for the knock-on. I think the referee just required a second chance to have a look at that particular piece of play. The partisan crowd just kept on roaring. Eventually, that was the scrum put for Kenya. The Spaniards on their first scrum looked extremely devastating. And that should be some point of control for the Kenyan forwards. Absolutely totally lost in that interchange.
Great go. I was right there in the second row.
Good scrum, man.
Thank you.
No, sorry. In the scrum. Dans le malais. Crouch.
The scrum put in for Kenya from that handling error by Spain. You just see a section of the crowd here at the RFUEA grounds. Continuing to build up. Edwin Achayo, it's picked up by Joshua Chisanga. But again, his support runner. There's only Edwin Achayo coming in. This is Sami Oliet going in to secure the rack. Looking promising for Kenya at this moment. Remember, they trail Spain by 3 points to 0. That is Sami Waroi once again taking it into contact. Edwin Achayo just delivers the ball under pressure. This is Sami Motari, not the best of catches. Darwin Mukidza shrugs off his man, and there he goes again.
That man, Darwin Mukidza. Charles Darwin was the man who brought out the theory of evolution. Darwin Mukudza is the one who's plotting Kenya's absolute historical charter of the world rankings. His 7th try for the national team, the try scorer, Darwin Mukudza.
And Hillary, it is inevitable that anytime Darwin Mukudza is in the opponent's 5, he's going to score. I mean, it was so easy, and you could just see his intent, and he showed the power in just knocking off his Spanish defender and scoring the try that gives Kenya the lead.
Darwin Mukudza is one of those players who has absolute capacity to create something from nothing. Look like he's totally covered there, knocks off one, shrugs off the second, has a lot of power to just bust through that tackle, and looks very easy. And Darwin Mukudza increases his very, very extraordinary and impressive try-scoring tally for the Kenyan Simbas. You can see the absolute admiration and gloating on his face. He absolutely loves it. He deserves it. Mukudza set to convert his own try. Mukudza's conversion kick, not good, but Kenya with a try, getting the lead. The man in your picture there, one of the more talented players in Kenya currently, Darwin Mukudza, definitely enjoying a very, very rich vein of form and going on to score his 7th try in the international test games for Kenya.
An amazing return rate from Darwin Mukudza, as the Kenyans just prepare to receive the ball from the restart. It'll be interesting to see the Spanish response as Bradley Linkletter looks to play deep. Joshua Chisanga looked like he's going to receive it. No, it's big Oliver Mangeni. Does he have numbers arriving? Yes, he does. Edwin Achayo at the base of this plays it to Mike Okombe. Don't expect Okombe to kick that ball, so he takes it into contact. This is Kelvin Omio. Samuel Liech boots it into the waiting arms of Jaime Nava, the team captain. This is Nava. He slipped just before encountering Darwin Mukudza. This is Linkletter. As the Kenyans are marauding there in defense. And you know, Hillary, I've noticed that early on, Ronnie Monesi seems to be struggling. He's stayed down twice when play has resumed from contact.
In the soccer code, the Spanish national team called La Furia Roja, the Red Fury. And it would appear that Ronnie Monesi may have had a taste of the Red Fury in the breakdown position. The Spanish players definitely looking very well conditioned. Landed in Nairobi on Wednesday, you'd have expected the altitude to have taken its toll on them, but they absolutely don't look quite perturbed. And right in that instance again, the Kenyans getting the gifting of the position. The Spaniards just beginning to perhaps understand how it's been very difficult winning Nairobi.
True indeed, as the Kenya Simbas definitely showed up for the party here. And Hillary had mentioned it earlier. As you just look at this slow-mo, that was Nava just being slowed down by Oliver Mangeni and Moses Masala. Team captain Brian Nyikuli just marshalling his troops to slow down play. And on our screens, Ronnie Monesi has been receiving attention early on. 13 minutes played in this match. Kenya leading Spain by 5 points to 3. The action coming to you live on Zuku Sports Channel 300 and 301. Remember, this match is also being streamed live on zuku.co.ke/live.
The Spaniards, like the Kenyan Simbas, will not be making it into the Rugby World Cup in England in September and October later in the year. The Kenyans just losing out on the point during the qualifier in Madagascar last year, trying to ensure that they can just try and get a base for themselves to try and psych themselves up ahead of the next qualifiers in 2018. And they've done well so far in the test in Nairobi. They're looking to try and just ensure they can pick up on that against the Spanish team. Sami Motari, that's Vincent Mosa, the fullback, getting in. almost level position. Ball looks to have been smashed off. And Michael Kome, judged to have been in an offside position, got the ball after it had been smashed out. And interesting to see Edwin Achayo starting. We did see him last playing during the Kenya Cup semi-final where he broke his wrist in February. Do you perhaps believe that it may be a case of a bit being rushed and a bit too early without getting the necessary match fitness? Because there's a couple of options off the Kenya bench which you would have probably fancied to have started, Mike.
True indeed, as you mentioned, Hilary, Edwin Achayo, of course, still rusty. He has been out of competitive action for a while. Remember, Laila Siligo got injured when Kenya played against Tunisia about 2 weeks ago. Fractured arm, he'll be out for 12 weeks. The decision, well, that was the technical bench's decision, and it will be up to Edwin Achayo to repay the confidence shown in him by the technical bench. As the ball goes out for a line out from that penalty, Spanish throw-in. Once again, the Spanish just mauling it, looking to walk as they're overpowering Kenya in the maul, using an element of physicality early on, Hilary.
Kenyans just currently playing like spectators, not digging their shoulders in, not stopping the Spaniards. Spaniards realizing very early they can get the Kenyans on the back foot. Joshua Chisanga stealing the ball somehow. Absolute show of brute power from the Kenyan back row. Getting a very, very hard 15 meters. Samuel Lech with the ball. Looks for options. He's got Darwin Mukiza. Mukiza moves on through. He's got one man to beat. Mukiza evades the second man. And Mukiza is pumping on. And this man, Mike, how many times do you see Darwin Mukiza doing that? Second try scorer, Darwin, the great Mukiza.
Well, that man again, this is now 8 tries in 4 international tests. An amazing return rate, as we said. And he makes it look so easy as the Kenyans doing the slap tiger, as we came to know that celebration to be.
I mean, this man looks like he gets better with every single game. The man who plays his rugby at the Kenya Commercial Bank rugby team, the man who went to Chavakali High School, Darwin Mukiza, absolutely just making it look very easy. 8th try of the season, 2nd try of the game. Kenya 10, Spain 3. That was basically a try of first phase, not something that you'd probably expect to see a lot in international rugby. But Darwin Mukiza and Samuel Lech just showing it that it's as easy as Sunday morning.
And you know, Darwin Mukiza, one of those deceptively fast players. He doesn't really look like he's running, but his strides gain him ground, and he of course has the pace as he just prepares to take the conversion. It seemed to have had the height and power, but just not that accurate. Kenya leading Spain by 10 points to 3. And what do you think Kenya should do at this point in time? What do you think Spain should do there? As we just see the try again, Hilary.
I'm certain Darwin Mukiza will definitely be very proud of that effort. Did see the match referee Chris Garner talking to him. I'm not so certain whether he was asking Mukiza whether he's legitimately fast or whether he actually has some secret ingredient that he needs to share.
Ball retrieved by Edwin Achayo. Box kick that just seeks to ease the pressure. That's Jaime Nava. Attempted to take a quick line out, but he was caught in 2 minds and just opted to take it from the mark.
Assistant referee Amos Omanga calling for the line out for the Spanish Los Leons near the halfway line. Spanish just seem to have started off on a flurry, then lost the plot. The Kenyans looking like they want to go and dictate this game. 2 tries scorer. Darwin Mukiza looks to be the man, the go-to man for Kenya. And he looks at this moment in time to be the spanner in the Espana engine.
And Hilary Darwin has evolved into a potent weapon for the Kenyans. Crunching tackle from Joshua Chisanga. The Kenyans, no slouches on defense either. The Spaniards may have had the physical advantage, but the Kenyans showing a lot of tenacity. Looked messy in the breakdown, but it's cleared up. That's Nava again. Nava seems to be the go-to guy for the Spaniards early on.
Hami Nava perhaps took it a little bit too much. Kelvin Omio tackle was good and Nava just did not release the ball, so Kenyans get onto the penalty. The Spaniards just beginning to lose out on any level of game plan that they had. Nava getting the ball into play after some good spade work by David Gonzalez and Jesus Recuerda, number 4 and number 5. And it just looks like the Kenyans have it covered all over. Samuel Liech with a very nice kick all the way to the 22-meter line, giving the Kenyan Simbas a chance at attacking the Spanish defense yet again. Kenyan hooker Samuel Rui taking his time before just unleashing the ball in the line-out. They should have been able to practice something within the kill zone. And perhaps this is as good a time as any, Mike, to try and just ensure that you can go and replicate what has been on the training ground on an international test game. Not in that particular fashion. That is an overthrow. Samuel Liech with a thumping tackle, literally nailing Gregory Marquez. Nava, the man again, losing the ball. So it looks like it will be an advantage for Kenya. They do have the ball on their side. Edward Achayo not really keen on trying to get the ball very fast. Ball slightly slowed down. Bullet pass out to Motari. Motari has Vincent Mose. Mose does well, keeps the ball, gains very hard yards. Brian Yikuli, captain, caught out in the blind. Not certain whether Achayo should have passed the ball there. Kenya still have the numbers. Samuel Liech to fly off. Gave the ball to Arui. Arui perhaps acts like he was getting an exorcism. Doesn't look like he was really keen on trying to hold that ball. Jacob Ojay to start the Kenyan attack deep from the Kenyan territory. Ojay smashes off the fast, looking very good for the Kenyans. Somehow the Spanish Los Leons just managed to recover that.
And of course the ball booted just to relieve the pressure. It goes out. It's going to be a Kenya throw-in. It's been a frenetic few minutes, Hilary. The pace really just going up the roof. Vincent Mose retrieves it quickly. Interesting there. Edwin Achayo is looking to clean up things there. This is Moses Amsala. As they look to spread the ball out wide. This is Kelvin Omio. He has Sami Motari and Darwin Mukidza with him. That is Motari taken back under the crushing tackle of Bonan Anibal, shot number 6. The ball lost on the tackle, and now once again with the Kenyan. Samuel Liech, not the best of deliveries. Seemed a bit too casual there, but Darwin Mukidza just stuffing it out there. It's an almighty scrap heap there for the ball. And Hilary, you wouldn't want to think what is happening in there. The ball played out wide by the Spaniards. It's been a lively 23 or so minutes so far. And the advantage remains with the Spaniards.
It looks like the Spanish will get an advantage of the knock on. Sami Motari, the Kenyan number 14, still sprawled on the ground. Not too certain whether that is the shoulder injury that he incurred in the 3rd and 4th place playoff during the Kenya Cup. Looks like he's having problem with the shoulder. And you can see the physiotherapist, Christopher Makacha, just applying the very miraculous and magical water off the shoulder, hoping that miracles will be able to work and get him back onto the field of play.
Okay, fine. I've marked for you. This is a mark for the penalty.
Chris Gunn in your picture, absolutely loves our sentiments, gives us a thumbs up. We give you a thumbs back up. Has done well so far in this game. The man, the whistler from the UK.
True indeed, Hilary. The game has flowed. There's been a lot of continuity. 25 minutes into the match, 2 tries for Kenya, 1 penalty goal for the Spaniards. Action has been frenetic. The Spaniards will want to go for goal.
Mark. Greg. Mark. Greg. Mark. Greg. Mark. Watch my mark. Watch the mark. Mark. Move it back.
There seems to be a stoppage in play. As Bradley Linkletter looks to go for goal and reduce the deficit for the Spaniards. And Hilary, one thing I've noticed with the visiting teams is their prowess when it comes to taking the kicks for goal from different acute angles on the pitch.
I mean, Mike, just goes to show that we're definitely working with, or rather seeing world-class players coming into Kenya, and the ability to just knock off every opportunity that they have just shows the level of potency and the threat that they have, and perhaps should be a key message to the Kenyan bench to ensure they just minimize on the errors. Linkletter with the kick, as good as the first, and just like that, the deficit is cut to 4 points. So clearly showing that tries are not the only way to win a rugby game, and the error rate needs to be really looked upon, else the Spaniards may just have a way to get back into this game.
True indeed, and for the Spaniards, they will need to keep in touch with the Kenyans. Remember, if the deficit grows for either team, then you just find it difficult towards the end of the match. As we just caught the replay there of Linkletter's second successful kick. The scores: Kenya 10, Spain 6. Samuel H with the restart. Massive boot there, retrieved by Gregory Marquez. Gregory Marquez looks like a nippy runner just looking at his running style.
Very nippy. Has had a chance to acquaint himself with Samuel H. Thumping shoulders in there. And Marquez looks like he's one of those little tiny foot soldiers, perhaps within the mold of Napoleon Bonaparte. Only the Spanish Napoleon in this instance.
Or closer to home, he was no Napoleon, but Peter Mutai. Very much in the mold of former Kenya scrum half Peter Mutai. So scrum down in the middle of the pitch. Remember, Sami Oliech's restart went straight out into touch, hence the scrummage in the middle of the pitch. We played 27 minutes of the first half. Kenya leading Spain by 10 points to 6. Kenya's points coming from 2 tries scored by Darwin Mukidza. Spain's points have come from the boot of Bradley Linkletter. Massive scrum once again from the Spaniards, and they get a penalty, and it's a bit straightforward what they're going to do from here.
I'm pretty certain your guess is as good as mine. Linkletter with the ball. It would be a bit foolhardy to expect them to perhaps try and write a love letter back home as opposed to taking a penalty. And they're looking at getting another chance at the post to try and reduce his deficit to a point. Linkletter's boot has been very good so far, and he'll be looking to just try and buoy himself further on with his penalty kick. Bradley Linkletter, not one of the names you'd probably have expected to have associated with the Spanish team. You'd probably expect Alejandro, Romario, Martinez, one of those romantic names, but hey, we have Linkletter trying to go around and deliver the letter for the Spanish.
Well, you forgot to mention Hilario as well. Well, I was looking at their biodata, and Bradley Linkletter is actually of New Zealand origin. He holds a New Zealand passport, but happens to play for the Spanish national team. They also have Joe Hutchinson, their hooker, who is a UK citizen, but representing Spain when it comes to representative rugby. Linkletter once again is all concentration. Well, this time his attempt went wide, and you can just see the frustration in his face, maybe also determination.
Linkletter is human after all. Perhaps just had a thought of his ex-girlfriend, and that just did enough to keep him off, squaring the points in between the posts. So the scores remain: Spain 6, Kenya 10.
as we head into the final 11 minutes of the first half here at the RFUEA grounds. We can just see a headshot of the crowd that continues to stream in to the grounds. Finely poised match. Jaime Nava fell under the tackle from Kelvin Omio, but he seemed to be running with intent there. See some good continuity from the Spaniards, but they seemed to have lost the ball on the tackle. Yes, the advantage swinging back to the Simbas.
Omio seemed to have been left on the same place he took the tackle. Not too certain whether his jaw is okay. Not very funny jaw injuries from moving to eating solid food to having a very, very interesting 3 months of Cerelac. Omio looks to be up. Doesn't look like he'll be having any Cerelac, at least not now. But may just need a chance to be looked at by the physiotherapist. Looks like he has blood on his cheek. Perhaps one of the studs caught it. It looks like a nasty gash on the side of his head.
He will be patched up quickly by Chris Makacha. And I can see Isaac Adimo preparing to come on for the few moments. Isaac Adimo coming on for Kelvin Omio. Omio is out for the blood bin. And it's interesting now, Kenya playing with two fly halves at number 10 and 12. Interesting.
Of course, when you've got the talent that Samuel H possesses, he has the ability to play at center, at fullback, at fly half, and you probably even just want to see Samuel H playing at prop. So not too certain whether it will be very detrimental for the Kenyans as Kelvin Omio gets patched up and gets his Sunday best look back on before he gets on the field of play.
I think for Samuel H to play at prop, that should be part of his retirement package, and one Hillary Teller can take him through that in lessons after the match. But for now, the scores remain 10-6 to Kenya. They shoved before the half penalty quickly taken. This is Isaac Adimo. He has Sami Motari. Motari seems also to be struggling, not comfortable when he hits the deck.
Because Sami Motari not looking very convincing there. Perhaps looks like exactly what he did on his first date. Just literally spilled his guts out there, sprawling the ball, making it very easy for the Spanish to defend. And I'm certain that he'll want to go around and make amends. But for now, the Spanish have the possession. The Kenyans just have to play a bit of defense. Up the side of the pitch, you can see Kelvin Omio still receiving some treatment. The two big burly gentlemen there, I'm certain that you can bear me witness, Mike, that's not the average size of a Kenyan. Those are super Kenyans.
These are not your average Kenyans, as Hillary Teller said. And I think between the two of them, that's over 200, maybe closer to 300 kilos. But that is a conversation for another day. The action on the pitch continues. Gregory Marquez with the scrum put in for Spain. Edwin Achayo just lurking there and making it difficult for Jaime Nava to break from the base of the scrum. Joshua Chisanga in the thick of things. And the advantage swings to Kenya.
Almost look like an exercise in futility, more like a giraffe trying to go around and cajole an elephant to stop, but look like there's a bit of sense in it. So the Kenyans managed to turn over the possession in the mall, but the biggest issue has been the ability to retain on their scrum footing, because the Spanish have literally shown what would probably become La Furia Roja in Spanish, the Red Fury. Literally just winning against the head. The Kenyans, so far up until this junction of the game, have struggled against a very superior Spanish scrummaging onslaught. The Spanish definitely look human. One Matador down, looks like he got a stamping from a Kenyan bull. I'm certain that this will definitely just give them a bit of a chance to recover a bit of oxygen within their lungs.
True indeed, and when you speak about oxygen, remember Nairobi is located at 1,600 meters above sea level. Very difficult to play here. We've seen Portugal come, we've seen Tunisia as well struggle with the altitude. As you just see, Darwin Mukidza touching down for his first try. He seemed to have broken into a smile, and there he is again. Similar fashion for the second try as the crowd went ecstatic here at the RFUEA grounds moments ago. Fans recognizing that this is indeed greatness, and this is Bradley Linkletter. His attempt, that was a massive boot, sailed between the sticks. The scores currently Kenya 10, Spain 6.
Kenyan Simbas currently being very inhospitable hosts, not giving their visitors a chance to just coast in and enjoy the sights and sounds of Kenya, making them defend from the get-go. Samuel H with the ball there, almost came through, not too certain what happened, perhaps caught in two minds. Jacob Oje just letting the ball go off, and all of a sudden Darwin Mukidza has to go around and get some evolution on defense working. Looked like it was a forward pass. Referee says it will play on. Kenyans just putting out a lot of green shots in there. The Spanish red all over the Kenyan territory currently, doing very well. Levels of patience being shown, just trying to ensure that the ball spreads around, and quite currently showing their pedigree until that breaker by Ronnie Mwenesi gets the ball to Oliver Mangeni. Mangeni, a Kenya Sevens player, steps in. You don't get to see that every day. Third try for Kenya. Try contorted by Ronnie Mwenesi, scored by Oliver Olishe Mangeni, also fondly referred to as IR Baboon.
And there they break again into the slap tiger. And interestingly, Hillary, this try manufactured by the second row. I think they've just decided to just take matters into their own hands, literally. Tired of being in the second row.
And just when you're about to start ruling out the Kenyan players, a lock picks up the ball, pumps it up to another lock, and you can definitely see that the locks definitely have a game plan. They found each other in the right position, and great try there. Third try for Kenya, one of the better ones. You never get to see a lot of that lock and lock combination, literally running rings behind wingers. Oliver Mangeni, the try scorer. Darwin Mukidza with the ensuing conversion attempt. Darwin Mukidza, this time with the conversion attempt, no try. Just got used to be saying Darwin Mukidza try, Darwin Mukidza conversion. This time with the conversion, Mukidza good with the conversion. Kenya step on 17. The Spaniards definitely look to be looking for a Spanish guitar to try and get a romantic tune. The Kenyans just being total inhospitable hosts.
As we just look at that moment, the ball turned over. Ronnie Mwenesi ran the race of his life there. The offload on the tackle. Oliver Mangeni just didn't seem to even get into second gear. And then the step, the change of direction, and he was home and dry. Began celebrating. Interesting celebrations these Kenyans have. As you just see the faces of the fans here at the RFUEA grounds. Yeah. And Kelvin Omio, I've just been informed, is back on the field of play. He has been stitched up from the blood bin. Spaniards competing in the air there, but Mwenesi just making sure that the ball went to his side. Edwin Achayo with a box kick. Mukidza almost successfully stole that ball. He actually did. It's just been confirmed. This is Michael Kombe to Samuel Liech. Hard running, and you could see the intent there that Samuel Liech had. He spotted the gap from miles away. Men out wide. Motari to Jacob Oje. Oje looking confident when going into contact. Achayo. Mangeni, the try scorer, but running into a Spanish wall. It's still Achayo there with a cheeky little chip. The Spaniards call for mark and just look to relieve this pressure that has been coming their way from the Kenyans. Jacob Oje retrieves that. He has men. This is Samuel Roy. Chisanga there to clean up things. That is Isaiah Nyariki. You not always see Nyariki with ball in hand, but the work he does behind the scenes is amazing. This is the captain, Brian Nyikuli. The ball ripped by the Spaniards. As we have about 30 seconds of the first half remaining. Spanish prop Francisco Blanco sits down, and actually the referee Greg Garner calls for halftime.
Ryan Nyikuli just losing the ball there in a contact phase. Looked like he was keen on trying to get some community empowerment. Managed to just ensure that nothing came out of that. So the Kenyans, with a commanding 17-6 lead at the interval, that man, Darwin Mukidza, named after Charles Darwin, just trying to ensure that the evolutionary process of the Kenyan rugby debacle gets onto the right angle. So the Kenyans, emphatic 17-6, the Spanish have been treated to very inhospitable and intolerable conditions. If I had to add, halftime, Kenya lead.
Next on Bake, we hang out with major gospel hip-hop artist Pompey.
Timuna, Johnny Cena, you can't see me. What's up? This is Pompey and you are watching Bake.
Then we spend some time with Zambia's reigning Super League MVP, Titus Jovu.
Setting the pace is back. This week, we bring you up to speed with stars that we've had in the past.
It takes a very strong athlete to be at the top all the way in such a long season.
When I was delivering, I was 55 kilos. I normally weigh 39 to 40 kilos.
Where are they now?
I feel great to be back, and I'm really happy because of what I've done today.
That's on Setting the Pace at 8 p.m. this Friday, only on Zuku Sports.
This week on Inside 22, it's a battle of the Lions as Kenya Simbas take on Spain. Victor Sudi is our guest on Inside 22.
The hardest part about coaching, having that feeling that you want to jump back into the pitch and show the players how it's done.
And on Rugby Pride, we focus on a club with a rich history, Nondi's RFC. Catch all the action and entertainment only on Zuku Sports.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's halftime here at the RFUEA Grounds. The score's 17-6 in favor of Kenya as we shortly get to have a view of the highlights of the first half. Kenya's tries scored by Darwin Mukidza. As you see,
He managed to get his jet shoes and looked like he may have done enough to just put them off the pedestal. And at 17-6, you just get a feeling that the Kenyans have the ability to explode into a much more convincing scoreline in the second half, unless the Spaniards have a guitar, a Spanish guitar, not the one that has been sung about by a couple of American singers, that they may be able to bring back onto this game.
as you see the Kenyans just marching onto the pitch, led by Samuel Liech. Samuel Liech has been very exciting at the number 10 position for Kenya. One of the tactical changes made by head coach Jerome Parwater, as we just get a halftime shot of the crowd here at the RFUEA grounds. Pretty faces, happy faces. One serious face in the crowd, probably taking it all in. But this is the action here at the RFUEA grounds. Samuel Liech preparing to restart the second half. It should be interesting how this match turns out. Hillary, the second half is about to begin and we should expect a lot more excitement.
I think the combination that Achayo and Samuel H have put up has not been as convincing, and I'd probably expect to see at some point in time Robert Aringo getting onto the field of play. They do have a telepathic understanding with Oliech. You did see the second half in the match against Tunisia, how they just managed to just change the game on its head, and maybe that's just a spark that the Kenyan team is missing out so far. Of course, Achayo last played competitive rugby about 6 months ago, breaking his hand in the Kenya Cup semi-final, does not have the match fitness that would be required, and has done well so far, but just doesn't seem to be the final sort of package that you'd expect a scrum of at an international test game to be. Ball lost in the contact phase there by Darwin Mukidza. Spaniards just throwing the bodies all over, ball unplayable, so it'll be a scrum put in for the Spaniards.
As Hilary has mentioned, the scrum put in is for the Spaniards. Gregory Marquez looking to spark off a Spanish revolution in the second half. They have a mountain to climb against Kenya, but it's early days yet. There's still all of 39 minutes in the second half to recover the deficit and claim the victory. For Kenya, of course, it's just to keep staying ahead against the Spaniards. Remember, coming into this match, Spain currently ranked 19th in the world rugby rankings, Kenya in position 30. And definitely, as Hilary gave the permutations earlier, the result, should it stay this way, will mean a significant shift in the rise in the standings when they are released on Monday. As another massive scratch, another massive scrummage from the Spaniards. They draw a penalty, and Marquez just holding the ball, and I can see Bradley Linkletter with the ball there.
Absolute dominance in the scrums by the Spanish Los Leones. Kenyans just currently trying to get a response onto that, but it's been a very, very excruciatingly devastating display in the forwards. And that man in a picture, Linklater, the New Zealand-born Spanish flyer, does not go for the 3 points this time around, electing for a line-out.
And you can see the intent from that, looking to retain possession from the line-out, and Maul obviously well aware of the fact that they boast a superior physical advantage against the Kenyans. And it'll take a lot of tenacity from the Kenyans to tame the marauding Spanish Lions. There's Joe Hutchinson. Line out throw. Retrieved by the Spaniards. And Hilary, we spoke about it.
And of course, the Spaniards look to be playing within their strengths. They already have an advantage from the line out. You can see the referee's hands, Ghana, outstretched, playing the advantage. Doesn't come good, blows the whistle, and this might be, yes, indeed, it looks like he's going for a card, and it looks like Kenya may be reduced to 14 men. Pretty certain that's not a Christmas card. Just starting to ensure whether he knows who to address it to. It looks like Oliver Mangeni is a man who's been called a try scorer. Looks like he'll get his moment of glory, 10 minutes in the sin bin, and the Kenyan Simbas reduced to 14 men for the next 10 minutes. Oliver Mangeni, the guilty party.
And already dominant Spain will fancy their chances now against the Kenyans, who are missing one player in the forwards following Mangeni's sin bin. He'll be out for 10 minutes. The Spaniards have 10 minutes to keep this game alive. Ball retrieved from the line out. That was Jesus Recuerda. And at the base of the scrum, looks like Jaime Nava, and the intent is to score the try. Referee Greg Garner awards the penalty try. Kenya 17, Spain 11, with the conversion to come. It would be interesting to get a replay and see what exactly elicited the decision to award the penalty try.
Because Mike, that definitely looked very borderline. Looked like the player literally just fell and collapsed on top of his own opponent. But call has already been made, try good, so conversion ensuing. Spain have a chance to reduce the deficit to 4 points, make it 17 points to 13. Conversion by that man, Bradley Linklater, who kicked 2 quick penalties in succession, missing out on one, and looks to just try and ensure that he can get back his kicking precision and his confidence as well. in the early stages of the second half.
And remember, we spoke about this. The teams would need to score points immediately the second half began to make this match a contest. And of course, Spain, with the conversion there from Bradley Linkletter, that makes it 17 points to 13, 4 points separating Kenya's Simbas from the Spanish Lions. We have a match on our hands. The next 35 or so minutes are going to be interesting. Remember, Kenya currently down to 14 men following Oliver Mangeni's sin bin. And there in our picture you can see Kenya head coach Jerome Parwater. He's taken a vantage position, solemn looking at this point in time.
Almost looks like he's cutting the image of a lonely person up there. But I'm certain that if the walkie-talkie is calling all the shots, would be too happy about the fact that his men have been reduced to 14 men. The Spaniards have been very, very devastating in the front row and in the contact phases. And perhaps this will be the point where we'll be able to see the character that the Kenyan Lions have.
So Samuel Roy with the line-out throw for Kenya. Remember, the Kenyans without Oliver Mangeni in the line-out. Awkward bounce. Achayo passes the ball under pressure. Samuel Lech steps. He has support. Kelvin Omio. Jacob Oje. That is Vincent Mose. A beautiful try scored by the Kenyans. And really, out of nothing.
I mean, there's been a bit of debate as to whether Samuel Lech would be the best person to start at the flyer position. Does absolutely well to shrug off the first lines of defense and making it very easy for Vincent Mose to score Kenya's fourth try. Try good. The veteran in the team, Vincent Mose. Kenya 22, Spain 13, I beg your pardon.
Just look at it again. Samuel Lech shrugged off the attentions of his Spanish markers, played it into Kelvin Omio, to the on-rushing Vincent Mose, who made no mistake, just shrugging off the attentions of his marker. Touching down, Kenya 22 points to 13. They lead against Spain. Darwin Mukidza attempting the conversion. And it sails wide. Darwin Mukidza seems to have forgotten his kicking boots today.
T didn't come in time, and Darwin Mukidza under pressure to kick. Goes wide, so Kenya with a 9-point advantage. And just keeping the Spanish Los Leons at bay at this moment in time.
Bradley Linkletter with a massive boot there, retrieved by Joshua Chisanga, who just shrugs off the attentions of the Spaniards. Kenya looking competitive, and you wouldn't tell that they're missing Oliver Mangeni at this point in time. The box kick coming in from Edwin Achayo, but retrieved there. Massive run. That was Jesus Jaime Nava, I beg your pardon. That ball passed under pressure. Referee Greg Garner is on the scene and just waves play on. It's a furious response from the Spaniards, just looking to stay patient there. Ball played in, the cover tackle coming in from Sami Motari. Michael Kombe there, and that is Bonan Alibal. The tackles on Pablo Fonte. Spain just an element of continuity from them. Kenyans defending desperately as the Spaniards go in pursuit of a try that will see them stay in touch in this match.
Almost held there by Jacob Oje. The Spanish do well, return the ball. Jaime Nava, the man who's definitely been calling all the strings. The Spanish have got numbers off the left. I don't know if they're certain about the numbers that they had. Managed to butcher it, so it'll be a penalty. But Mike, for a second they looked like it was on for a try, a second try for the Spanish Los Leons. But it looks like they have a rush of blood to the head and reason may have been thrown off the window.
True indeed, because we've mentioned this earlier in our commentary. These opening moments of the second half, very critical. This is what makes or breaks the match. They'll need to score to stay in touch, because if they touch down, if they convert, they'll just be 2 points behind the Kenyans. But as it stands, they have the penalty advantage. and you just probably feel that they'll want to dominate the Kenyans, use their physicality and go over for the try.
We have definitely seen the physical dominance that the Spanish Los Leons have in the contact phases. And with the line out 5 yards away from the Kenyan line out, you probably get a feel that this is very ominous for the Kenyan Simbas. Spanish retain the ball, look to be going and crossing in for a try. There, the referee's hand goes out for advantage. So it will be a penalty. You get a feeling, Mike, they'll definitely go for the line out. They feel like they have this intact and they'll try it over and over again. And if it gets one of the Kenyan players sent off, so be it.
And you could just see the body language, and indeed, Brad Linkletter just going to do exactly what Hilary Teller had predicted. And, you know, just looking at what the Spaniards are also doing is they seem to be slowing down play, because remember, we are playing at altitude, and this seems to be very deliberate from the Spaniards, just slowing down play, as Sami Motari has been replaced by, we'll confirm in a moment. The Spaniards go over for the try in the meantime. And it's shot number 6, Bonan Alibal, the try scorer. Bonan Anibal with the try for Spain, 22-18.
Bonan Anibal would probably have sounded as an animal if you probably just shifted the B and an M, but definitely did a lot of the hard work there. And the Spanish are definitely still back in this game, 22 points to 18. With the conversion set to come, this is still a very open game, Mike.
Very open, very competitive. And of course, very tactful from the Spaniards. We just see they molded there. Anibal touching down. And remember, Hilary, I was telling you that the Spaniards, you know, just looking to play tight, slow down the game so that they don't get worn down by the effects of altitude. That has been the downfall of many other teams that have played here.
Of course, the Spanish have definitely taken advantage of the fact that Kenya were 14 men for the last 10 minutes, scoring 2 tries. Conversion looks to be intact, and indeed, yes, the Spanish now move 20 points. It's a 2-point game, and this is definitely as open a game as can get. The Kenyans don't even look like they scored 4 tries. Their conversion kicking ability definitely beginning to show. Their, how do you call it, Mike? They'll definitely be doubting about the fact that should have actually been leading more. Not so certain about how to put that.
True indeed, Hilary. You talked about the kicks. You just feel that had those conversions gone in, the scoreline would have been a lot more comfortable. But as it stands, it makes for great viewing. It makes for great rugby atmosphere here at the RFUEA grounds. As you could just hear the crowd marshalling the troops here. Mike Okombe picked up that loose pass. Achayo cleaning it up. This is Samuel Roy, loses the ball. It traveled forward, and the advantage swinging to the Spaniards. They look to counter-attack. Massive punt deep into Kenyan territory, and it bounces. No. Vincent Mose skips past his man. Can he go all the way? He doesn't. He goes into contact. Achayo looking to keep it alive for the Kenyans. Penalty advantage to the Simbas.
Very gutsy performance there. One of a near heartbreak moment there. Vincent Mose getting into the contact, almost losing the ball. Referee Ghana on spot, just realizing that the Spanish were up to a bit of Spanish soap opera theatrics in there, realizing that had actually been won unfairly. In your picture there, Dennis Muhanji got in moments ago into the number 13 position, replacing Sami Motari, who has not perhaps had one of his better performances.
True indeed. Sami Motari seems to have struggled under the intensity. As just a section of the fans here at the RFUEA grounds, pensive at this point in time. Remember, only 2 points separate Kenya from Spain. The score's 22 points to 20. Usually this is a scoreline you see towards the end of a game, but you're seeing it early in the second half. You can see a substitution being made. Oliver Mangeni back from the sin bin. As head coach Jerome Parwater looks to ring the changes. The crowd here at the RFUEA ground, pensive. Remember, 2 points separating the two sides. But as I said, Jerome Parwater looking to ring the changes. shall be done later. The penalty has been taken by the Kenyans. They've opted to go for the line out deep in the Spanish territory. Former captain Wilson Kopondo comes on, as does Curtis Lilako. We'll establish in a moment who they have replaced. Yes, Ronnie Mwenesi and Isaiah Nyariki are the men who go out. Interesting, because usually Jerome Parrota waits till midway in the second half to ring the changes. He just opted to ring them in quite early.
Isaiah Nyariki has not been his superb best in the scrummaging. This has definitely been a game that the Spanish front row has managed to outfox him, and in his place comes Curtis Lilako. Knock on off the line now, so the Spanish Los Leones get a chance to just get themselves off that pressure position. Not one of the better line-out throws and contests by the Kenyan Simbas. And with 24 minutes still left on the clock, you just get a feeling that this Spanish team may probably be the best challenge that the Kenyans have had at home to date.
No doubt about that, Hillary, because previous matches that we have seen, previous matches that have been broadcast live here, have seen the Kenyans just run away from the opposition towards this point of the match as we approach minute 60. But the Spaniards, very clever, very smart in the way they're playing. Massive scrummaging from the Kenyans. Excitement galore as well as Chisanga picked up that ball from the base of the scrum. Referee Chris Garner paying attention as it is an almighty scrap heap for the ball. The Spaniards retrieving it. Darwin Mukidza and Samuel Lech back home, but this is Darwin Mukidza, plays it into Vincent Mose, spotted the gap from miles away. This is Vincent Mose. That's a storming run deep into the Spanish territory again. Achayo is on hand to ensure play continues. Curtis Lilako, that was the best decision he could make, seeing as he had men on rushing, just took it into contact, and the advantage swings back to the Spaniards.
Lilako just being a little bit more excited in there, sticking onto the ball longer than he was expected to, and the Spaniards will be heaving a sigh of relief at that penalty when it looked all set for the Kenyan Simbas at choking up a couple more scores on the board. Normally at the 60-minute mark is when you expect the outing to come on in, and you can see the bodies still left on deck there. And you just get a feeling like that maybe the Kenyans should be looking at this and looking at just trying to ensure that a little bit more misery might be piled on the Los Leones. Beautiful pictures in there, crowd on the ground. I'm not so certain whether that is Shabaranks, a latter-day Shabaranks, minus his dreadlocks. Oh yeah, he's just removed them to confirm that he's not Shabaranks. So we'll just call him Mr. X.
As Mr. X pays attention to the match here, finally poised 22-20 to Kenya. Line out throw for the Spaniards. Of course, they have used their physicality to good advantage here. Once again, the height advantage of the Spaniards pays. Massive mauling there, but disrupted. Wilson Kopondo making a nuisance of himself in this maul. Remember, this is Wilson Kopondo's first appearance for the Simbas since Kenya lost to Zimbabwe last year in the World Cup qualifier by 28 points to 10, a match played in Madagascar, a match that broke many Kenyans' hearts. It's again Spain just looking to slow down play, slow down the clock, and of course force the Kenyans into errors. Linkletter has men out wide. They look to play and attack the space out there, but Muhanji stops his opposition, and it'll take a lot of discipline from both sides and patience. Remember, any error at this point of the game and you find yourself flailing and trailing. And you just feel that Linkletter could be lining up for a drop goal. No. The drop goal attempt bounces off the posts. We could see that coming from a mile away. That was Thibaut Alvarez. But Hillary, you could see that drop goal attempt coming from miles away.
I mean, Mike, you definitely see what the Spanish have come to do in Nairobi. They are definitely not here to just come and make the numbers. They realize they get a chance at getting ahead on the game. They take their chances, comes off the post. Unfortunate there. David Gonzalez and Jesus Recuerda were in front of the penalty drop kicker. So the Kenyans just come off with a penalty, and Samuel H set to clear the Kenyans from their own territory. Not one of the better kicks by Oliech, but I'm certain the Kenyan Simbas will take that and see what they can pick up from the ensuing line out.
And Hillary, you just have to give credit to head coach Santiago Santos' tactics, knowing that this is Nairobi, that the altitude plays a huge role in the matches here. Just opted to slow down play, as you see a Spanish player being taken off the pitch. Bloodbin. We'll confirm his identity in a moment. But like I was telling you, Hillary, the Spaniards just opting to slow down play, knowing that they cannot sustain the intensity at altitude, as Brian Yikuli just takes that ball into contact. Massive gain there. Samuel Liech. This is Edwin Achayo, under the attentions of the try scorer Bonan Anibal. Well, you'd wonder why the Kenyans would opt to take it into contact against a side that is out-muscling them.
Wilson Kompondo loses the ball, and the Spaniards look to be still retaining some level of form. They've got numbers out, and this should be a try. Samuel Liech does not do enough to score the try, and the Spanish, with this try, will get into the lead for the first time since minute 5 of this game. Spain 25, Kenya 22.
Try scorer is Neil Barrow. And Hillary, you could just see the class, the confidence, the experience of the Spaniards beginning to come to the fore, slowing down the game, playing at their pace, actually playing according to their own terms. As you just see, that was Pablo Fontes setting up Neil Barrow, who just got past Samuel Liech to touchdown. Conversion to come. Bradley Linkletter has been, I'd say, about 95% accurate with the boot today, and you'd expect him to slot this home. The conversion attempt is good. Spain 27, Kenya 22. And as Hillary mentioned earlier, this is the first time the Spaniards are in the lead since about minute 5 of the match.
You can see Kenyans trying to ring change. It looks like Isaac Adimo will get into the field of play. You'd fancy that this will mean that Samuel Liech will go to fullback as Adimo takes a number 10 jersey. And Adimo is inside. Looks like Vincent Mose is a man to leave the field of play. Mose not too certain about why he's being asked to leave. It appears that Samuel Liech will move into the fullback position. It appears that Samuel Liech is a man who's walking out injured for the Kenyan Simbas. Didn't get back up after that try by the Spanish Los Leons. And that try just brings in some level of renewed commitment by the Los Leons. Joshua Chisanga gets a ball, smashes the Spaniard off his face. Not keen on any level of philandry. Referee looks to have called something before the ball went off dead. Referee looks to be consulting with the assistant referee, Raymond Oruo, and Ghana. Perhaps an infringement. It's in your picture there, Joshua Chisanga. He's judged to have been shrugged off the collar. That is not allowed in rugby. As a shirt tag, it's a bit dangerous, and the reason why the Kenyan Simbas do get a penalty.
Line out throw for the Kenyans, retrieved. No, it didn't go well for the Kenyans. Advantage remains with them. This is Jacob Oje. Takes his man in. That is Isaac Adimo to Dennis Muhanji. Muhanji looks to find space, which he does. His support coming on. That was Michael Kombe just taking it in. And Adimo again. Sami Waroe. Some good continuity from the Kenyans. Adimo again changes the direction of play. Curtis Lilako takes it in. This is Moses Amsala. As Sami Waroe has remained down for the Kenyans. This has been a bruising battle indeed. Adimo to Okombe. Can see the bodies there. Kenyans just picking up the tempo. That was Wilson Kopondo. Adimo again dictating play here. And possession turned over. It's now with Spain. Crunching tackle. That was Vincent Mose. That is a Zuku moment. Just see there. Crunching tackle coming in from Vincent Mose. Just looking to stamp his authority. And there we see it again, that Zuku moment. And Hillary, this is indeed a bruising battle. Sami Waroe has been down for a moment. I could see Moses Amsala. This has probably been the biggest physical challenge the Simbas have received yet. As a crowd here at the RFUEA Grounds, animated, enjoying the action. This has been one of the better test matches that we've seen here at the RFUEA Grounds.
With very little time still left on the clock, the Kenyans just trying to ensure that they can play for all the pride that's available. The Spaniards just definitely look like they're working to a script that's to slow the Kenyans' game and work within their strengths. And so far, you can actually tell that they're worthy 27-22 leaders in this game.
True indeed. And the Kenyans looking to dominate these phases of play. At the base of the scrum there is Joshua Chisanga. Adimo. He has Vincent Mose. Mose with Jacob Oje. Oje steps past his defenders. Vincent Mose just tackled into touch. But you just have to give it to the Kenyans, the way they've responded since the try by the Spaniards. And you just feel also as though the altitude finally beginning to kick in and slow down the Spaniards, because they seem not to have any response to anything being thrown their way by the Kenyans.
Kenyans just showing some spark of activity there, not really realizing that they need to play off the touchline. They always say in rugby that the touchline has the ability to be another defender, make it very easy for the Spaniards just herd them into a corner. But in a much more better and advantageous position to attack. Spaniards not in any hurry. Joe Hutchinson in your picture there, the English-born Spanish hooker. Not in any hurry to take the line out. Looks like the Kenyans will be looking at making a change off the side of the pitch. Peter Carrier, the KCB hooker, looks set to replace Sami Waroe. For now, Hutchinson takes his time. Spaniards just clocking down. Very, very invaluable time of the clock. They throw the ball, manage to get their number, and they'll be looking at just winding down a couple more seconds off the clock before they can get a kick that will definitely get them back into the Kenyan territory. Driving ball not being contested by the Kenyans. Kenyans almost looking like they're just happy to be part of the bridal party.
Well, I'd do that when faced with a massive physical challenge, this time coming in the form of the Spaniards. Bradley Linkletter just booting it into touch, easing the pressure. And yes, the confirmation of the substitution. Sammy Waroy off for this match. Coming on is Peter Carrier, and his first order of business is to oversee the line-out throw. Quickly taken and retrieved by Oliver Mangeni. The Kenyans giving as good as they get from the Spaniards, size notwithstanding. The advantage remains with them. This is Adimo. Jacob Oje. And penalty try. Jacob Oje was sprinting clear until he was mugged on the try line.
Super try there by Kenya. Penalty try and a yellow card. Looks like Joshua Chisanga may know a bit of Spanish. That's the only reason as to why the Spaniards may get excited. So penalty try to Kenya after the high tackle on Jacob Oje, and a yellow card as well to the Spanish for the high tackle. Kenya 27, Spain 27.
Is that number 9?
Darwin Mukitza. To attempt the conversion in front of the sticks. Remember, if he converts, Kenya go ahead 29 points to 27. And there you can see the guilty party had no intention of tackling. Mukitza makes no mistake. Kenya retake the lead, 29-27. The crowd love it here at the RFUEA grounds. Jose Luis Del Valle, the name is quite a handful. He is in the sin bin for the rest of the match. And Hillary, Spain will see out this match with 14 men.
I think you really do not expect to get down, especially when you're this level in the game. Great move there off the training block. Jacob Oje was on through. High tackle, definitely, surely a penalty try. Kenya are now playing 15 men. The Spanish have to struggle back, and the Kenyans in the lead.
As the crowd goes into a frenzy here at the RFUEA grounds, but Spain in possession. Of course, looking to stay in touch. And this is anxious moments. Spanish player just shepherded into touch. That was Jean-Pierre Garcia. The crowd here at the RFUEA grounds, pensive. It's a 2-point lead for the Kenyans. 29 points to 27, they lead Spain. We have about 8 minutes to play. 8 very nerve-wracking minutes. The line out doesn't go Kenya's way. Peter Carrier retrieves the ball, but the advantage remains with the Spaniards.
Spirited defending there by the Spanish, realizing that they're one man down, just committing all the players in the line out. And this definitely looks like it's going to be a very, very edgy 7 minutes of this game left. Kenyans with a very slender advantage, 29.77, after the penalty try was awarded for the high tackle on Jacob Oje. The clock has been set back on, so there will be a scrum by the Spanish. Los Leones. Counter shove coming in from Kenya. Ball looks to have been skewed in, and there will be a reput for the Spanish Los Leones. They'll be the happy lot. They are playing one man less, playing within the Kenyan territory, and definitely a scrum has the ability to eat a couple of minutes, if not seconds, of the game.
Still have about 6 minutes to play. 29-27, very edgy as the match winds to a close. Remember, scrum being taken again, scrum down. Under the close attention of Greg Garner. The Spaniards will look to walk it home. It's already gone 90. I wonder if it will be called Jaime Nava just running into a forest of Kenyan players. And the advantage stays with Spain, much to the disappointment of the crowd at the RFUEA grounds. You can see the pensiveness in their faces, their side leading by just 2 points. And you can see us then, commentary booth, waving to you guys at home. It's been a battle. And there we are. We've been told to wave by our directors. I think, Hillary, we could get another life as political waivers or something of the sort. I was telling you, Hillary, we've been cued to wave, and I think we could get a career waving at parties, at functions. But anyway, the action has slowed down here at the RFUEA grounds. It's a 2-point lead. Kenya 29, Spain 27. We have about 5 minutes to play. There's been another stoppage in play.
Spaniards are definitely within the strike zone. They're playing one man less. They'll be looking and just trying to ensure they can get, at the very lowest, a penalty so they can slot in 3 points. Not looking at any hurry. They know they have less than 5 minutes on the clock, and definitely showing the ability to read the game and play like you'd expect real professionals to play the game. Looks waiting up for the reset, and it's still going to be a Spanish ball because the ball was unplayable, so they get a chance to try and drive over a try.
Another substitution for the Kenyans. In comes Lawrence Buyachi, and he replaces his clubmate Michael Okombe. That should be a very interesting back row for the next 5 minutes.
Because Michael Okombe, one of the better tacklers of the game in Kenya. Not too certain why Lawrence Buyachi is being brought in to replace Okombe, because Okombe looks to have done the dirty work. Only reason could perhaps be an injury to Okombe. The last 3 minutes have been played within the Kenyan 22-meter. Spanish not in any hurry to get the ball out. Looking very happy to slow down the ball and just get a chance to slot in a penalty or any point that might just allow them to get back into the lead. Referee Ghana just resetting the scrum there. Looks like there will be a half penalty. So it's just stop the clock. Wilson Kupondo lost his footing, so that would not have allowed the Kenyans to have a very solid scrum ability.
And Hillary, you just feel the Spaniards comfortable just to be in this position. Remember, they're 14 men down, they're in the strike zone, but a massive shove coming in from the Kenyans, making the ball unplayable there. That was a massive counteract from the Kenyans. And you could sniff a drop goal here. Remember, the clock is all but up. This is some furious defense coming in from Kenya. But it's still Spain in possession. Just look at Linkletter, but that wasn't Linkletter, that was Javier de Juan. Just looking to attack the Kenyan channels, and possession turned over. Kelvin Omio kicking the ball deep into Spanish territory, and only time will tell if that was a wise decision or not. The line out deep in Kenyan territory. Deep in Spanish territory, I beg your pardon. But Hillary, We see the fans here, all pensive. The tension is real, Hillary.
You can actually touch the tension with your fingers on the RFUEA grounds. Just a minute ago, you could see on the crowds the tension that's palpable on the face. Less than 3 minutes left on the clock, and the homeboys are looking at going for the kill. This definitely has to count, and they'll be looking at pumping everything that they've had on the training ground in this line-out. Peter Karia, number 16 in the picture there, the Kenya hooker with the ball. Karia gets the ball back after releasing it the first time around. Ball looks like it's definitely headed to Wilson Kopondo, who does well, gets it. And Kenya will have to work this ball very well. They've not had very many opportunities in the game to work on this facet of play. And Oliver Mangeni at the back, the Kenyans retaining the possession. The Spanish just ensuring that they retain their possession and discipline. The Kenyan Simbas, it looks like Lawrence Buyachi barges over, and that is Kenya's try number 6, Lawrence Buyachi, the try scorer. Kenya 34, Spain 27. Great try there by the front row, Lawrence Buyachi. Can see him in your picture there. Very happy.
And that, Hillary, remember we had talked about the substitution of Lawrence Buyachi coming on for Michael Kombe. Obviously, with Brian Nyikuli, Joshua Chisanga, and Lawrence Buyachi, you have a more offensive-minded back row, and it showed there. Remember, all those three gentlemen play number 8 for their clubs. So it was a union of eighth men, and eventually Buyachi touching down as the crowd gets into a frenzy here at the RFUEA grounds. 34-27. We have less than a minute of play remaining. Darwin Mukidza is the man tasked with extending the scores even further. And Hillary, interesting statistic, in each of the 3 internationals that Kenya has played, they have scored more than 30 points against the opposition. The hooter has indeed sounded. So this kick, Hillary, we could call it inconsequential.
Indeed, this has been one of the harder fought matches at the RFUEA grounds in Nairobi. Darwin Mukidza with a chance to finish on a flourish. Mukidza taking his time. Lets it go. Does not look to have the precision. Indeed he does. And Darwin Mukidza's conversion goes in 36-27, and the referee will allow the restart to move on through. So there's still a little bit more of time left in this game. Spanish kick off quickly. The Kenyans back up. Karia retrieves the ball. So there's still a couple more minutes left in this game. Edwin Achaya with the ball. He's got Isaac Adimo. Adimo decides to kick deep. Spanish just have of throwing the ball out. And the final whistle blows. The Kenyans win 36-27. This has been a well-fought, well-worked, and very entertaining game.
Hillary, probably the biggest result in Kenyan rugby yet. A massive win for Kenya against Spain. Spain came into this match ranked 19th. But we'll talk about those permutations later. Let's just see the ecstasy from the fans and the players. Rapturous scenes here at the RFUEA grounds. Brian Nyikuli, the Kenya team captain, ecstatic there, and that is a future champion, Mr. Omondi Ogutu, future champion there, Vincent Mose, of course ecstatic. You can just see the emotion of the Kenyan players. Massive scalp they have claimed in Nairobi, Hillary. Emotional scenes there, players down in prayer. Chisanga, the big man, is in tears. Emotional win. It's a moment of prayer as you see some of the fans just taking it in. Hillary, how would you take it, this result?
I mean, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. That picture there definitely shows you exactly what this victory means to the Kenyan Simbas. they definitely just wanted to win this. Looked like it became a bit harder to win compared to the previous games, and right at the end, they managed to just get what they required to do. Deep within their reserves, they managed to pick up on something. 36 points to 27. Did look at some point in time like it was going to be a higher score, but a 9-point differential, they'll take that. You can see the dancing there. Certain that Oliech looks to have healed. The dancer definitely showed that he has a bit of a bounce.
As you just see the ecstasy there, Wangila Simiu with Richard Ocheng. And again, Wangila Simiu seems to have taken the role of chaplain here, leading everyone he meets in prayer. Obviously a massive, massive result here. And what a day it has been. Remember, the day started with